Hello everybody, Snowflarky's Emos here, playing Master Duel. Master Duel's out, it's a lot of fun. Thought I'd show off more stuff that I'm playing in Master Duel. So this here is my Aqua Actress deck. Aqua Actress is one of my favorite archetypes of all time. I remember opening up a box of Dragons of Legend 2 because I wanted all the, the Seal of Orichalcos, legendary dragon anime stuff, and I just pulled all these cards. So I was like, well, since I have playsets of every card, I might as well figure out how to play them. And I really fell in love with the archetype because I liked how simple their effects are with like grabbing the cards, and I really like their little strategy where it's like these little fish uh, get huge attack powers. I'm a big fan of monsters that just get ridiculously high attack powers, and Aqua Actress can certainly do that. Deck's pretty cheap to put together on Master Duel, especially since that extra deck you're looking at doesn't matter too much. So, figured I might as well play it. Now, of course, Aqua Actress is not a great deck. Don't, expect it to get you, don't expect it to win you games in Platinum a lot. But it still has some decent plays that'll easily get you through Gold and be able to play in Gold level, and got some little plays that it'll make that are just pretty instant cheese synergies, and that is that's pretty cool. In a best of one format, those cheeses work out well. So let's get into the card by card. First, we are taking a look at our monsters here. I am playing one copy of Testudo Rat Newman. This is one of your win conditions. Neither player can special summon monsters with 1800 or more attack. So if you can stick this on the board to end your play, being able to limit your opponent's special summons is very annoying. And of course, this Aqua synergy gives it synergies with a lot of cards in the deck, like the Aquarium Stage, the Wetlands, stuff that can make it pretty hard to deal with because they can't run it over by battle. And, you got other ways to protect it in the deck, so that's pretty cool. 3 copies of Aqua Actress Tetra. This is the key to the Aqua Actress deck. This card gets things moving. Once per turn, you can add an aquarium card from your deck to your hand. That's all the spell cards. And this is a soft once per turn, not a hard once per turn. So if you have multiple Tetras, you can get multiple aquarium cards. And that's another thing I really like about this deck is it's very fun to have multiple Tetras on board and just build into that. Next, I'm playing 2 copies of Dupe Frog. Frogs are great support for Aqua Actress because we have the ability to make Totally Awesome to protect our cards, make a negate, get the deck flowing, and they work with wetlands and just all the general water synergies. Dupe Frog is mostly just in here to be a frog name. It's got 2000 defense, which matters, and of course when this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can add a frog monster from your deck or graveyard to your hand. Now, Dupe Frog notoriously misses timing, so most of the time this effect will not be going off, but that's okay. We just need the Dupe Frog in the name. Now for the frog that matters here, Swap Frog. Special summon this card by discarding one other water monster. When this card is summoned, you can send a level 2 or Aqua water type monster from your deck or face-up field to the graveyard. This is probably the most important starter card. It can get you whichever target you need access to in the graveyard. Testudo Rat Newman is a big one. Aqua Actress Tetra is a big one. Ronin Totem. It's usually one of these 3 depending on what we want to do, whether we want to go into Totally Awesome or whether we want to have the special summon lock because we can get Totally Awesome another way, or whether we need the aquarium cards to get things down. Essentially dumping them into the graveyard with Swap Frog means that we can use this surface spell to pull them out later. Ronin Totem, pretty nice. This card's name becomes Death Frog while in the field. Doesn't matter though. The only effect that matters here is that if this card is in your graveyard, you can banish a frog from your graveyard to special summon this card. Given that it's level 2 and an Aqua, it allows you to make Totally Awesome, and you can also keep resummoning it to have a target for Totally Awesome to tribute. And of course, given that it's level 2 Aqua, it can get pretty beefy with the wetlands and whatnot synergy. Next, we have Aqua Actress Guppy, level 2 Aqua, so it can make Totally Awesome. And once per turn, you can special summon an Aqua Actress monster from your hand. So you can summon another Guppy, and then this Guppy can activate, because once again, it's only a soft once per turn, not a hard once per turn. And of course, we could also be using that to get out our Aqua Actress Arowana, the big beat stick of the deck, 6-star, 2000 attack. Once per turn, you can add an Aqua Actress monster from your deck to your hand. So get you Tetra, get you Guppy, whichever one you're looking for. And those do pretty well. So lots of water monster here, lots of ways to make Totally Awesome, lots of ways to, hinder your opponent's plays between Toad and Testudo Rat Newman. And, you know, while I like to play more Arowana because I think it's such a cool looking card, you know, it's not a great card, so I'm just playing one of for the extra attack power and the summon off of Guppy. And focusing more on turboing out our lock. Next, let's talk about the spells. I'm playing one Foolish Burial. It's another copy of Swap Frog without a body. Just dump whichever card I need to get in the graveyard, whether it's Toad, Tetra, or Testudo. 3 copies of Surface. This is our payoff for dumping things into the grave. You can target a level 3 or lower fish, sea serpent, or aqua type monster, special summon it in defense. So we use this to grab Tetra, we use this to grab Newman, we use this to grab, well, not Ronin Toad because we summon it off its own effect. Usually we're using it to grab one of these two, whichever one we dumped into the graveyard. Testudo if we want the special summon lock, Tetra if we want the aquarium card. 3 copies of Pot of the Extravagance. A little risky because Totally Awesome is only at 1, and we usually want to see Toad. But, you know, you got to take the risk because we have tons of other extra deck cards that are not doing anything, and we would rather make that card advantage. You know, you can win off of the back of Testudo Rat Newman alone, so, you know, it's worth the risk, and oftentimes when you resolve one, your Toad is not gone most of the time. So, you know, pretty good. Just keep things moving. Next, 2 copies of Fury of the Karyushin. This is that legendary ocean card that adds Torrential Tribute, and then if water monsters you control will be destroyed by a card effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard instead. Everything in this deck is water monsters, so we can definitely make use of this synergy, and Torrential Tribute is just such a powerful card that having a searcher and then having a way to make it a one-sided board wipe has been pretty sick. Next, I'm playing 1 copy of Wetlands. All Aqua-type monsters, level 2 or lower, gain 1200 attack. So turns our Guppy, our Frogs, our Tetra with an additional 1200 attack, and that's pretty good, especially if we have our opponent's field locked out and they're wide open. That Wetlands boost can easily create an OTK and win the game. Next up, we're looking at the aquarium cards here. These are all the cards that we can search off of Tetra, and they have synergies with both water monsters and Aqua Actress monsters. So Stage is probably the most important one. Water monsters you control cannot be destroyed by battle with a non-water monster, and Aqua Actress monsters you control are unaffected by your opponent's monster effects, which is pretty huge. And if your opponent doesn't read this card, like a lot of people won't, they will try to remove an Aqua Actress with a monster effect, and it will just not do anything. Additionally, all the aquarium cards have the second effect that if this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can target an aqua type monster in your graveyard, special summon it, but also you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of this turn except aqua type monsters. So even if they, you know, nuke your spell cards, you get Aqua Actress monsters back. You can get Swap Frog to send another card to the grave. You can get Newman to unsuspectingly lock them out of special summoning monsters with 1800 or more attack. That does a lot. It's a pretty big deal. And, of course, you know, pretty awesome. Next up, Aquarium Set. All water monsters you control gain 300 attack and defense, and then all Aqua Actress monsters you control gain 300 attack and defense. So that means your Aqua Actresses are actually gaining 600 attack and defense from both these effects. And then, of course, if it's sent from the field to the graveyard, you special summon an Aqua. Nice. Gets the attack boost up, which we need to OTK and end the game. Next, we're looking at 2 copies of Aquarium Lighting. If an Aqua Actress monster you control battles an opponent's monster during damage calculation, the battling monster's attack and defense becomes double the attack and defense during damage calculation. So this makes it so your Aqua Actress monsters can easily beat over any monster and do a lot of life point damage through battle with an opponent's monster. Pretty nice. Removes big things that are already on the board and just does a lot of damage when battling over monsters. Pretty sweet. And that is it for our spell cards. Next, we're looking at trap cards. We are playing 3 copies of Torrential Tribute. Such a powerful card. When a monster is summoned, destroy all monsters on the field. It's searchable with our Fury of the Karyushin. And, of course, with Fury of the Karyushin, we can have our water monsters on board, play Torrential Tribute to interrupt an opponent's play, and use Karyushin to, of course, keep all our water monsters alive. Pretty good, especially if they're summoning a monster to beat over Testudo or Rat Newman. You just say no and have them try it again. Next, I am playing 1 copy of Trap Tricks Trap Hole Nightmare. This is a budget option that would be Solemn Strike if I was ready to spend the dust on Solemn Strike, but in the meantime, I'm just playing a copy of Trap Tricks Trap Hole Nightmare. When a monster that was special summoned this turn activates its effects on your opponent's field, negate that effect, and if you do, destroy that card. Definitely outclassed by things like Strike and whatnot that already exist, but, it's a good budget rare. Probably will get replaced by Strike at a later date, but for now, it's fine. Next up is Lost Wind. This one is having this card as a rare is pretty nice because Lost Wind's pretty good. You target a face-up special summon monster on the field, negate its effects. Also, its original attack is halved. If a monster is special summoned from your opponent's extra deck while this card is in the graveyard, you set this card but banish it when it leaves the field. So recursion, having attack so you can do more damage with your Aqua actresses battling over them, and of course, most importantly, negating effects to interrupt an opponent's play. Very big. Next up, I am playing three copies of Solemn Judgment. When a monster would be summoned or a spell and trap is activated, pay half your life points, negate the summon or activation, and if you do, destroy that card. Having this card as a last card in your hand is nice to set for a little more protection on your turn one board. Protects your Totally Awesome, protects your Testudo Errat Newman, and that is pretty powerful. Having those negates can just hinder your opponent's turn so that we can finish them. The next card is Goes and Match. Probably considering bumping this up to 2, maybe knocking out the Trap Tricks Trap Hole Nightmare since I did manage to get a second Goes and Match. But each player can only control one attribute of monster. Everything in this deck is water. Everything we're summoning from the extra deck is going to be water. So Goes and Match is pretty good. And, there's a lot of decks where you can flip Goes and Match and they can't do anything about it and they can't play with it. So you're going to win the game off of the back it goes and match. And when you're playing weaker decks like this, that kind of thing is very important to keep in mind. And that's it for our trap cards. Next, we're going to talk about the extra deck monsters. There's only 2 in here that are really important that you're going to go into. The first one, of course, is Totally Awesome, the big payoff for frogs and level 2 aquas. During the standby phase, you detach a material, special summon a frog from your deck. So that's pretty nice. Use Swap Frog on your opponent's turn, get something into your grave that you're going to want to pull out with Surface on your next turn, like Testudo or Tetra. Whatever you're looking for. And of course, the frog on the field will help with its next effect. Once per turn, when your opponent activates a spell or trap card or monster effect, you can send an Aqua type monster from your hand or face up on the field to negate the activation. And if you do destroy that card, then you can set it to your field, which is a great additional effect to have because, if cards have graveyard effects that would be online by getting destroyed and get to the graveyard, you can set them instead and just deny your opponent access to that. That's pretty cool. And then if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target a water monster in your graveyard, add it to your hand. So even once Totally Awesome leaves the field, you get a card back to maybe get another play. You can spin Totally Awesome back if you have another way to summon it again, which is pretty awesome. So, it's a pretty good accessible negate, especially because everything we play in this deck is Aqua. So, cards in the hand, you don't have to only tribute Toad itself to negate a card. Pretty sick. Great boss payoff. Next, I have a copy of Mr. Boy. I happened to pull this card, and it has some synergy in this deck, so I'm playing it. All water monsters on the field gain 500 attack. All fires lose 400 attack and defense. And then, of course, if this card is destroyed by battle or card effect, target a water monster in the grave and add it to your hand. So, get something when it dies and is a big water attack monster boost. Can help push an OTK, especially since you can use Ronin Totem to summon this card and then get Ronin Totem back. Just can give you more attack power on board to sometimes, have lethal when you wouldn't otherwise. Definitely a card that I would say is not worth crafting, but is pretty useful because I have it. The rest of this extra deck is just cards I put in there in case I decide to start playing Waking the Dragon. Waking the Dragon is definitely a card I consider in this deck just because, I have torrential tributes, face downs that my opponent might want to snipe with back row hate, and if they hit Waking the Dragon, I can get a huge payoff. Waking the Dragon is a lot better in this best of 1 format that Master Duel is on ladder. So I'm not playing it right now, but considering it in the future, and I play it in a lot of other decks, so I figured, might as well just throw the good extra deck monsters in here. Starting off, we're looking at Last Warrior from Another Planet. Basically, you summon this guy, and then neither player can summon monsters. So if your opponent has an open board, summon Last Warrior. They can't summon anything, and that could just shut them out of the game completely. The next one, Blackwing Florma Master, 3,000 attack monster, unaffected by other card effects. Pretty awesome. Means you have to battle over it or kaiju it. Just very limited options on how to deal with this card. And it has a pretty nice effect. When your opponent's monster effect activates, you place a wedge counter on that monster. After that effect resolves, you can target a monster your opponent controls with a wedge counter and take control of it. And then, of course, once per turn during your end phase, you can destroy all monsters on the field that have wedge counter. So it removes monsters, steals monsters, pretty powerful. And being unaffected by card effects, it's a really good card to summon off Waking the Dragon. Next off, though, is probably the one I find myself summoning the most. Raid Raptor Ultimate Falcon, 3,500 attack, unaffected by other card effects. Just makes it incredibly hard to deal with. And a lot of decks just don't have the out prepared for this card, and if they don't, you win off the back of Ultimate Falcon. So pretty sweet to consider. The next one I'll talk about here is Draco Masters of the Tenyi. This one is mostly just in here if you've banished all the rest of those off of Extravagance. But Draco Masters of the Tenyi is pretty nice to deal with, just because it cannot be destroyed by battle with an effect monster. So if your opponent has a lot of monsters on board, you can wall them off with Draco Masters of the Tenyi. I've been using this in Tenyi, so I figured, it's a good filler slot. Next up are a lot of the White Aura monsters, which I put in here mostly because of their synergies with the water support, like, the Aquarium cards, Torrential Tribute, and Fury of the Karyushin. If Last Warrior, if Raid Raptor, if Armor Master isn't available, we can summon one of these, one of which, White Aura Dolphin, 2,400 attack monster, target a face-up monster your opponent controls, its attack becomes half its original attack. Now, when you summon these cards correctly, they normally have an effect that says if this card you control is destroyed by an opponent's card effect and sent to the graveyard, you can banish another water monster from your grave to special summon it. And if you do, it's treated as a tuner. But since we'll pull these out of the deck with Waking the Dragon and they were not summoned properly, you will not get those effects. So keep that in mind. Next is White Aura Whale. I got a playset of this, pulling the Legendary Ocean stuff because I wanted both the Pacifist and the Legendary Ocean deck. And of course, looking at Aqua Actresses, it just turns out that I'm a big fan of certain water decks in general, I guess. White Aura Whale is really nice because it can attack 2 times on monsters during each battle phase, and it does piercing damage, which is pretty good. Gives a lot of extra damage that could end a game. Awesome. Of course, it's water monster, so it works with these water monster cards. And then, of course, White Aura Behemoth. When this card is synchro summoned, you special summon a Divine Dragon token with 3,300 attack, and you get that even if you summon it off Waking the Dragon. So just 2 3,300 attack water monsters. Also has synergy with the water monster support. And of course, while you control no tokens, you can special summon a Divine Dragon token. That is pretty sick. Now you can't use this last effect to special summon it if it gets destroyed, if you pull it off Waking the Dragon, but nonetheless 2 3,300 attack options for a card I just pulled for free is a decent Waking the Dragon target. And that's it for the extra deck. Next here we'll use the handy replay feature to take a look at the deck in action. We are going first this game, which is normally what we want to do. We're going to start off by playing Extravagance, banish 6 cards to draw 2 more, one of which is Dupe Frog, one of which is with Swap Frog. We will then pitch our Arowana in hand to special summon Swap Frog and dump Testudo Arat Newman, which we are doing because we have Surface in our hand, and since we have a way to make Toad without needing Rodin Toadin, and we have Surface to get out Testudo Arat Newman, we are going to do that because that will get us our Toad and Newman lock. Following up, we normal summon Dupe Frog here. Go into the Totally Awesome. That's nice. Now we got a negate on board. Now, of course, and keep in mind when you're doing this play is that you need to summon Totally Awesome before you summon your Testudo from the grave, because then you won't be able to summon Toad because it has 1,800 or more attack. So do keep that in mind when you're playing. Always got to be conscious of that. Now that Toad's out, though, we are going to surface out our Testudo Arat Newman, and that is our first turn board. We have Toad here for the negate, and we have Newman here to lock our opponent out of special summoning monsters with 1,800 or more attack, which, not the most powerful, but still pretty obnoxious for an opponent to deal with. On our opponent's turn here, Toad is going to activate. We're going to detach Dupe Frog to get Swap Frog out, and we're going to use Swap Frog to pitch Ronin Toad, and that way we have access to another body on the next turn. They set 2 cards and pass. You know, we draw, standby phase, we're getting another Swap Frog. We're going to use Swap Frog to drop Tetra, because we got Tetra, we don't want another one. We're going to normal summon Tetra, use its effect to add Aquarium Stage. Now our monsters can't be destroyed by battle, and Tetra here is unaffected by monster effects. And with Wetlands in the hand, Swap Frog and Tetra get a juicy 1200 attack boost. Now we're going into battle with Tetra. Now they're activating Raid Raptor Last Strix. You know, I want to end this game quickly, so I'm just tributing our Swap Frog to say no to that card. You know, we want to kill this card. Boom. And we're going to hit directly with Swap. And Toad, 2500. Now, we didn't have enough to end the game. Now, because our Toad is out of materials and we're not getting one out of the deck, we are going to use Ronin Toadin's effect to summon it on field just to have a card to tribute for Totally Awesome's effect. So, our opponent goes. You know, they set 2 more cards. Not too much they can do right now with this lock. We're going to draw our card for turn. I am going to use Tetra to add Lightning. Now we have all 3 Aquarium cards online. And I'm going to take this Toad and Swap Frog and make Mr. Boy, because I didn't banish it off Extravagance. Now, when we summon Mr. Boy here, they're going to use this chance to play Raid Raptor Readiness here to protect their Raid Raptor, buy them another turn, and of course, you know, even further turns by its Graveyard effect. And since I got rid of Ronin Totem, this is a good opportunity because they're going to force me to tribute off either my Tetra or Mr. Boy. So pretty good timing. I will use Totally Awesome, though, to negate that card and then set it on my field because I don't want that second effect to be online. I'll use Ronin Totem to get it back out of the graveyard, summon another big attack. Now it seems like they don't have any more options, so they just scoop and give me the game. And that's Aqua Actress in action. You lock them out, and then you smack them down with the large Aqua bodies. So that is it for the Aqua Actress deck profile. Once again, one of my favorite decks in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! Really like these cards a lot, so glad I was able to make this deck for cheap and even find some decent success with it playing against randoms on the ladder. Definitely its lock helped out pretty well in the best of 1 format, and it was a fun deck to do a little climbing with. So very happy with it. Glad I made it. Was not a very big dust investment too, so just a nice thing to add to the collection and lots of fun. Let me know what you think about it. If you enjoy Aqua Actresses or what water decks you like. I'm a big fan of some different water decks here, so you know, I'd love to hear what you're doing with it. What are you playing in Master Duel? Let me know how you're enjoying it in the comments below, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.